Hey guys, welcome back to DeerSlayer TV. I'm your host, Jimmy McKinney, and before we dive into this week's hunt, I just want to talk a little bit about what is to come. So this year, we're really excited to be showing different hunts from across the nation, courtesy of our National Field Staff program, and even more exciting is that we're going to be showing and showcasing different hunting adventures from camps that we have across the country. So we're going to be getting our field staff together and doing hunting events, and we're going to keep this semi-live. So stay tuned on our social media and check back on our YouTube page because we're going to get these videos edited and put up as fast as we can. The season is going to run through Christmas Eve, so check back every single week, and we can't wait for what's in store to share with you guys. So this week's hunt's pretty special to me as I've been hunting in this area since I'm 12 years old. It's where I killed my first buck. And for the last several years, I've been trying to get it done with archery equipment. So what starts out, we are in the middle of November, and it is a windy day. So check this out. So if anything could go wrong, it went wrong. So I'm sitting there and the wind was just blasting. It was a warm day in November and I was just soaked through my hoodie in sweat, and this buck comes up over the ridge and I'm bringing the camera over and I can tell right away he's got his nose up and he smells something's wrong. So I stop him and he stops, a nice broadside, quartered away, 35 yards, chip shot with the dart and crossbow, and he's right behind two trees. So now this deer knows something's up and he starts circling around me, and the way that the lay of the land goes, he's heading uphill, but he's circling straight out in front, and I'm following with the camera, and at this point he's about 50 yards, which is well within that crossbow's limitations. So I have the camera arm extended all the way out, and actually was using 4th arrow camera arm with an extension piece, and with my DSLR with the heavy lens, the weight of it, as you can see, took the shot off frame. So now the camera slid, and I was up ready to shoot, and I'm aiming at this deer. I have just a little tiny opening, and I shoot, and all I hear is a loud crack, and I can only assume that I smoked this deer.
I don't even know what just happened. It's just getting daylight. Big mature buck comes up through. It's the rut. Wind's just blowing down this way. I got soaked. He smelled something, and he was just burning. And I just tried to take a shot. Well, it turns out the loud crack that I heard wasn't the arrow going through the ribs and the shoulder. It was the arrow going through the tree. Stuck right into it. I was just climbing down to go look for a third time because it was just really eating me up. And I saw the arrow sticking out of the tree. Happens to the best of us.
Alright, so I'm never going to live this one down. I actually got out of my stand 3 times. I would go back up, look at the footage, try to figure out where the deer was at, and then go and look for my bolt, and I couldn't find it. And I was so convinced that it either hit the deer and was in the deer, or it was buried in the leaves, because there was no way it hit a tree, and I couldn't see anything. And finally, the 3rd time, I climbed back up my stand, and I'm looking at the footage, and I get the camera to zoom in where the shot is. The sun must have changed, and there was my bolt, and it was like, you know, well, I guess I didn't win the deer, so time to pack it up. But I mean, that was an awesome public ground whitetail to be coming through. I was really jacked up. So fast forward to the next week, it's that final Saturday of PA archery, and there was nowhere I wanted to be but up in the game lands.
Well, it's 10 degrees this morning. Unlike yesterday, the wind's not bad. So you can really hear the leaves crunch. I'm hoping to hear some leaves crunching soon. We're way back in, about a mile from the truck, public land. last day of archery. See what happens. I'm planning on packing in for the entire day. Well, it's been a pretty uneventful morning. I had a small buck sneaking behind me, got my wind. I didn't even know he was back there until he blew. 8:30 this morning, a deer skirted the ridge above me, but nothing's been in range. So, packed a couple of snacks. I'm gonna sit in for the afternoon and see what happens. It's about 11 o'clock. Dark's about 5:30, so got some time, but it is the last day of archery. last light. Last light, and that deer walks right in. And it's right there. And I don't even know if I had the record button on. Wow, what a long night. Can't believe it. Didn't have the record on. Alright, well, I'm gonna get myself packed up. He crashed right down there, so let's get out of here.
Alright, I got some reinforcements here. I got Brandon, Chase, and Ben. We put this glow stick up here before I walked out of the woods. I had to get all my gear out, and that saved us from finding where we were last marked here. Deer's right down below. You see the light knock in a second. So we're going to get it gutted up, and the four of us are going to get this thing out of here. We got a mile haul, so. Alright, here he is. I marked the spot with the lighted knock. This is the exit hole from this jackhammer. First time using the Walsh broadhead, and from the pass through, and the fact he only went 40 yards, I'm thoroughly impressed. But there's the buck, and nice little mountain buck right there. So, alright, we got to get him gutted up, through his tag on, and get him out of here.
Alright, boys.
So I gotta laugh looking back at that footage. I just looked like I shot this deer, and it was like there was no effect. And don't judge that emotion, because so many thoughts were going through my head. Last day of archery, I filled my tag. I watched the deer drop. The sun is almost down. I realized I'm a mile back in, and as I was panning around to get that shot, I had double punched the recorder. I had all this video of this deer coming in. I turned it on. Just as I was zooming in to get the deer dropping, I realized the camera wasn't recording, and it just drained my emotion. But I can tell you right now, the guys that came to help me, and thanks again, Ben, Brandon, Chase, I mean, if it wasn't for them, it would have been a really long night in the woods. And we got to go back to the cabin and celebrate, and you know, just embellish in the fact that we're all up there and sharing this opportunity. We had some fresh venison, and that's where we want things to take us. That's the direction that Cervicide is going. We're going to be showing hunts from all around the country this year, but we're really excited about some special events where guys are going to be coming together, and we're going to get footage to show what hunting is really about, the roots that we grew up with. When I started hunting, it wasn't even archery, it was rifle season. I couldn't wait to go to deer camp to be with the guys. And a lot of that's been lost. A lot of it has become just putting yourself up on a pedestal and just self-motivation. And it shouldn't be that way. It should be about your friends and your family and getting together and enjoying the great sport of hunting. So guys, can't wait to show you the next 12 weeks of what we have in store. Buckle up, it's going to be a great season.